Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is now part 11 in the series of al-Imamah wal-Nass. And we haven't done one for a while, simply because our schedule is very hectic. But inshallah, we'll try to resume them, even if at least one episode per week. And inshallah, we'll be able to fulfill this. And last, we were talking about the age factor and the importance of the age in the eyes of the Arabs and the Muslims before and after Islam, even. And how, for example, Muhammad al-Hanafiya would argue that since he is the eldest, that the Imamah should go to him. And you can go back to the last audio recording to review that. And we will continue from where we left off, and it's on page 86, where the Shia narrate from Rabi' bin Abdullah that he says, وَقَعَ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ عَبْدُ اللَّهِ بْنِ الْحَسَنِ كَلَامٌ فِي الْإِمَامَةِ. This guy, he says that there was a dispute between me and Abdullah bin al-Hasan bin Ali bin Abi Talib regarding the matter of Imamah. So Abdullah bin al-Hasan, he's the grandson of Imam al-Hasan, says, what does he say? He says, إن الإمامة في ولد الحسن والحسين. Imamah is in both the children of Hassan and Hussein. So Rabi' bin Abdullah, he replies to him and he says, بل في ولد الحسين إلى يوم القيامة دون ولد الحسن. He says, no, it's in the children of Hussein alone until the day of judgment, not in the children of al-Hasan. So obviously the first thing you'll notice is that the grandson of Imam al-Hasan, who is a big scholar, this is Abdullah bin Hasan al-Hasan, he does not know that Imamah is in the children of Hussein, and he assumes it's in the children of Hasan and Hussein, which raises a lot of questions, as every narration in this book did. So Abdullah, he told Rabi' وكيف صارت في ولد الحسين. He told him, how is it that Imamah is only in the children of Hussein, and they are both masters of the youth of paradise, and they are both equal in virtue. In fact, Al-Hasan has greater virtue than Hussein because he is the eldest. وكان الواجب أن تكون الإمامة إذن في ولد الأفضل. And the Imamah had to be then in the children of the one who is best. Meaning, he's saying in this case, it should be in the children of Al-Hasan, not Al-Hussein. Because Al-Hasan is better because he is the eldest son. And this narration is in Ilal al-Shira'i' al-Saduq and in Bihar al-Anwar, volume 25. So check that. And the author also says that the Shiites, they narrate that between Hasan and Hussein was one tuhur. Tuhur, I guess, it's a period of maybe 14-15 days. So there was about 14-15 days between Hasan and Hussein. And this is backed up by what they narrate from al-Sadiq, that he says نزل أمر الحسن والحسين معا, meaning I guess the matter of the leadership of Hasan and Hussein was declared at the same time. فتقدمه الحسن بالكبر. However, Al-Hasan preceded Al-Hussein because of his age, because he was older. And this is an al-Imamah wal-Tabsir. And we also see Al-Hasan's grandchild going to Ja'far al-Sadiq in one of their Shia narrations and telling him, جُعِلْتُ فِدَاكَ, may I be ransomed for you. إِنَّ السِّنَّ لِي عَلَيْكَ, I have superiority over you with regards to age. فَإِنَّ فِي قَوْمِكَ مَنْ هُوَ أَسَنُّ مِنْكَ, in your folks there are those who are older than you. And then he asks him to give him bay'ah, and he tells them that if you give me bay'ah, no two from your companions will differ on me. And this is in Al-Kafi, volume 1, it's in Bihar al-Anwar, volume 47. And the author says that this narration has a lot of beneficial things, that if you read it, you'll see a lot of interesting stuff that he will not mention it here. So go back to these sources, inshallah, to check this out. And we also read that Abdullah, the son of Ja'far al-Sadiq, he also claimed Imamah for himself after the death of his father, and also based on the age factor, he claimed it. And his argument was that he was the eldest of Ja'far's sons after his brother Ismail died. And Ismail, he's the Imam of the Ismaili Shia. And they narrate from Ja'far al-Sadiq that he appointed Ismail after him, but Ismail died in his father's life. And it says that a group from the Shia followed Abdullah, who was called Abdullah al-Afdah, and they were companions of Ja'far al-Sadiq, not just any Shia. but a lot of them have rejected his imamah after a while. And this is found in Bihar Anwar volume 47 and 48, also in Al-Khara'ij wal Jara'ih. And also they say that Imam al-Qadim at that time he was 20 years old, as is written in I'lam al-Wara and Manaqib al-Abi Talib and Bihar Anwar volume 48. But then the Shiites, they also narrate that his grandson, the Imam al-Jawad, as they call him, also became the chief of believers, according to them. And he was no older than 9 years old, according to the various narrations. And this is found in Al-Irshad. And in Al-Irshad it says that his age on the day of the death of his father was about 7 years old and a couple of months. Also in Kashf al-Ghumma and in Bihar Anwar 49 and 50. So they narrate as well that because of his age, a group, I guess, from the people, mostly being Shiites, have rejected his leadership. And this is in Tafsir al-Qummi, in Tafsir al-Ayashi, Tafsir al-Burhan, Tafsir al-Safi, Nur al-Thaqalain, Bihar Anwar volume 36, Al-Kafi volume 1. Even, I guess, when Jawad wanted to make wasiyah, or appoint his son, who is called al-Imam al-Hadi, he found him too young for this. He himself, the Imam himself, found his son too young for this. As is written in Al-Kafi volume 1, Bihar al-Anwar volume 50. And the author says we will mention some of these narrations later. And they narrate that Imam al-Hadi, when he became the chief of believers, he was about 6 years old and 5 months. And this is in Kashf al-Ghumma, volume 3, and Bihar Anwar, volume 50. So, as you can see, it doesn't really make sense that the leader of the entire Ummah be a 6-year-old like Al-Hadi, or like a 7-year-old like his father Jawad, or the previous Imams before them. It makes no sense that people with such young ages be the leaders of the Ummah, especially since the Shia say that Imamah is lutf from Allah, so as that the people would be convinced through the Imams and through the arguments of the Imams of the validity of this religion. But how can people be convinced if their leader is a little kid? No one's gonna accept this. No one is gonna accept that his leader is like a little kid. It's not gonna make sense to them. So it's really counterproductive, this lutf business that they talk about. And what is even worse is the Mahdi, who was, God knows, maybe a couple of months old or something when his father died. And that's even younger than the previous Imams. So, as you can see, this all does not make sense. And the author continues saying that he says that there is actually better ways of defining who the Imam is going to be, at least according to Shia narrations. Instead of basically putting the effort to walk all the way to the black stone and ask it who the Imam is, and measuring to see whose age is bigger, and that is basically that the Imams have this distinct quality that they see behind their backs just as they see in front of them. Meaning the average human being, he only sees in front of him. But the Imams, according to Shia narrations, they see in front of them and behind them. And they have no shadow. وَلَا يَكُونُ لَهُ ظِلٌّ. And another narration, they say fate. And this is in معاني الأخبار, الخصال, عيون الأخبار, الاحتجاج, بصائر الدرجات, الكافي, بحار الأنوار, volume 25 and 52, and al-Manaqib. And this is something, you might think this is something really silly, but these guys actually do believe in it. And if I were to show you here, this is the website of Center of Belief Researches, which is one of the official fatwa websites of the Shiites, which directly is under Sistani's supervision. And here the questioner, as you can see, he's asking, does the Prophet ﷺ have a shadow? And the answer is actually positive. And they say that this is proven by two evidences: a scientific evidence and a narration. The scientific evidence, they say, is that every human being has a type of a halo around him, or a halo, a circle of light, basically, which surrounds him, or a barrier of light which surrounds him. And for the Prophet, it's really strong, I guess. And they say in the narrations, they say وَرَدَ فِي الْعَلَامَاتِ الْإِمَامِ عَنْ الرِّضَى. They say they narrated from Imam al-Rida. He says that from the signs of the Imams is that he is أعلم الناس وأحكم الناس وأتقى الناس. He is the most knowledgeable, the most wise, the most God-fearing, the most courageous, the most pious, the most generous, and that he is born basically circumcised, and he is pure. وَيَرَى مِنْ خَلْفِهِ كَمَا يَرَى مِنْ بَيْنِ يَدَيْهِ. And he sees from behind him just as he sees from in front of him. وَلَا يَكُنْ لَهُ ظِلٌّ. And that he has no shadow. And this, they say, is from Musnad al-Imam al-Rida, volume 1, page 293, according to the Mufti who answered. And they say, then at the end they say, and it is established that the Prophet ﷺ is an Imam, just as Ibrahim was an Imam. وحينئذ فعلامات الإمام تنطبق عليه. He says, and therefore the signs of the Imams have to apply to him, just as they apply to everyone else of the Imams. وَدُمْتُمْ بِرِعَايَةِ اللَّهِ. And so this is it. They're telling them, yes, we believe in this. So here we have to ask ourselves, why are they bothering with age differences? And why are they bothering with all of this black stone talking and stuff like this, when they can simply look if the guy has a shadow or not? I mean, that's something really major, you know? Or if he sees behind him just as he sees in front of him. This is much more explicit signs. And what is funnier is that Shiaism, being the religion of excuses that it is, as you recall in the narration of Muhammad al-Hanafiya, where they walked towards the stone and started talking, they wanted to make an excuse as to why Muhammad bin Hanafiya didn't know anything about Imamah or who the Imam was. So they said that Muhammad bin Hanafiya did this intentionally to remove the doubts from the people's hearts. So he basically disobeyed the Imam and disputed with him regarding Imamah, and went all the way to the Black Stone so as to remove people's doubts. And this is found in Al-Khara'ij al-Jara'ih and in Bihar al-Anwar volume 46, which is probably one of the Majlisi's lame excuses. I mean, it's obviously made up just like everything else, because they narrate things in their books, for example, from a Sadiq, such as a narration which says ما مات محمد بن حنفية حتى أقر لعلي بن حسين, that they narrate that Muhammad bin Hanafiya never died until he submitted to Ali bin Hussein. What does that mean? It means that throughout a large portion of his life he hadn't submitted to Ali bin Hussein's Imam, meaning he opposed Ali bin Hussein's Imamah. And this is found in Kamal al-Din wa Tamam al-Ni'mah. Shia scholars, al-Nawabakhti and al-Qummi, who are very early Shia historians, who are Imami as well, and considered leaders from the sect of the Shia, they say, they describe the condition of the Shia after the death of Hussein. And they say that after Hussein died, the Shia, meaning Hussein's followers and companions, they split into three sects. One sect believed in the Imam of Muhammad bin Hanafiya, and they claimed that after Hassan al-Hussein, no one remained who is closer to Amir al-Mu'mineen than his son Muhammad bin Hanafiya. So he is the most worthy of the people when it comes to Imamah, just as Hussein was the most worthy of people after his brother al-Hassan died. So Muhammad is the Imam after Hussein, meaning they rejected Ali Zain al-Abidin. And another group of al-Hussein's companions, they said, Muhammad bin Hanafiya is al-Imam al-Mahdi. So you see here, they didn't know that there were 12 Imams. So they jumped straight away from after Hussein, they jumped straight away and claimed that Muhammad al-Hanafiya is the Mahdi, and that he was the Wasi of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and that no one from his household or his Ahlul Bayt can disagree with him or disobey him, and no one can reject his Imamah or even draw his sword except with his permission. And that Al-Hasan bin Ali, he only went to fight against Muawiyah with the permission of Muhammad bin Hanafiya. meaning they believe that Muhammad al-Hanafiya is greater than Hassan and Hussein, and that al-Hassan bin Ali only made peace with Muawiyah and gave him bay'ah with the permission of also Muhammad al-Hanafiya, and that Hussein went to fight against Yazid also with the permission of Muhammad al-Hanafiya. And this is found, they also say that the author says that Shia books mention the bay'ah to Yazid in Bihar al-Anwar in volume 45, meaning the bay'ah of Muhammad al-Hanafiya. And the Shia sect says that if al-Hasan and al-Hussein, they went without the permission of, if they were to go without the permission of Muhammad al-Hanafiya, إذن هلكا وضلا, then they shall perish and they shall be misguided. وإن من خالف محمد al-Hanafiya كافر مشرك, and whoever disobeys Muhammad al-Hanafiya is a kafir and a mushrik. Subhanallah. This is, you can read it in Firaq Shia, page 26, and also you can check out I'tiqadat Shia fi al-Imamah in Kamal al-Din and in Bihar al-Anwar, volume 42. And the author continues that a group of the Shia said that Muhammad al-Hanafiya, he is the Mahdi, and Ali was the one who called them the Mahdi, and that he never died. Basically, they never believed that Muhammad al-Hanafiya died, and he shall never die, and that is not permissible. However, he only went into ghaiba, and notice this, they're saying, the early Shia are saying that Muhammad al-Hanafiya went into ghaiba, he never died, and that it is not known where he is or when he shall return. وَلَا إِمَامْ بَعْدَ غَيْبَتِهِ إِلَى رُجُوعِهِ, and no Imam shall come during his ghaiba until he returns. And there were other Shi'i sects that said that Muhammad al-Hanafiya is Allah. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. They said that he is Allah, and you can find this in detail in the book Firaq Shia, starting from page 26, and also in al-Fusul al-Mukhtara, page 140, and what is after it. So here the author asks, after this little show here, he asks, where are those narrations about the 12 Imams from the Prophet? Where did they disappear? If those narrations were present, then how come the Shia were so confused, and how come so many of them were following Muhammad al-Hanafiya? And obviously Mukhtar also bin Ubaidullah Thaqafi, he had a huge role to play in this, because he was also preaching the Imam of Muhammad al-Hanafiya, and then Muhammad al-Hanafiya after that he would disown him and he would curse him, and Mukhtar would go on to claim prophethood for himself, and it was all basically a big mess that these Zanadiqa created. All of this for political reasons. All of this being for political reasons. Next we have the chapter on Muhammad al-Baqir and his Imamah. And his companions as well. So the Shi'i narrate from Malik bin A'yan al-Juhani that he said that Ali bin Hussein made a wasiyah to his son Muhammad bin Ali, and he told him, Bunay inni ja'altuka khalifati min ba'di, O son, I have made you my successor after me. No one shall claim this after me except that Allah shall place a leash of fire around his neck. So thank Allah and praise Him for this blessing. And this is in Kifayat al-Athar Bihar al-Anwar volume 46 and in Ithbat al-Hudat volume 3. And the author says, why is Ali bin Hussein saying this? Haven't we already read many narrations from the Prophet where he where he himself appointed the Imams by name and by number? He said so and so is the Imam, and after him is so and so, and after him is so and so. Haven't they already been established in previous heavenly books and by Allah directly in many of the Shi'i narrations that we've read previously? If that's the case, how is Ali bin Hussein talking about it as if it was his own decision? He's like, I am making you my successor after me. It's not up to you though. It is not up to you. And even if you didn't say this, does that mean that someone else could become the Imam? What about all those other narrations? And the author likens this to someone who's saying, I have made Ramadan the month of fasting. Why would you be saying, I have made Ramadan the month of fasting? The Prophet ﷺ, he already declared, and Allah has already declared in the Quran, that Ramadan is the month of fasting. And it's not up to Ali ibn Hussein, for example, to say this. So equally, it is also not up to him to say that Muhammad bin Ali, oh, you are my successor after me, so thank Allah and praise Him for this. I have made you the Imam after me. But so, as you can see, the texts imply that this Imamah was not mentioned previously. And after this, you see the Shia narrating really odd narrations from al-Baqir. For example, from they narrate that Abu Hanifa, he asked him, Anta al-Imam, are you the Imam? So he answers him, no, I'm not. Then Abu Hanifa says, Inna qawman bil Kufa yaz'amun annaka imam. A group of people in Kufa are claiming that you are the Imam. So al-Baqir says, فَمَا أَصْنَعْ بِهِمْ. So what should I do to them? So Abu Hanifa says, تَكْتُبْ إِلَيْهِمْ. You write to them and tell them that you're not the Imam. So Muhammad al-Baqir, he says, لَا يُطِيعُونِ. They do not obey me. And this is funny narrations in Manaqib, volume 3, and in al-Bihar, volume 46. And the author says that he doesn't understand why is al-Baqir denying his Imamah. Especially since Abu Hanifa, as is popularly known and recorded in all the books of history, he was not from the followers of the government, nor was he from the supporters of the government. In fact, he was a rebel. He rebelled against the government, and he was actually a Shia. He was pro Ahlul Bayt, and he supported the revolutions of, as I recall, Nafs al-Zaqiyya and the rest of Bani Hashim against Bani Umayyah and the rest of the tyrants of the time. And he also, the author says, he also supported the revolution of Zayd bin Ali bin Hussein against Hisham bin Abdul Malik and Abdullah bin Hassan and his two sons, Nafs Zakiyya and Ibrahim, against Khalifa al-Mansur. And he also rejected governmental positions, such as the government wanted to appoint him as a judge, and he rejected it. So, and he died in prison, as a result. And so anyone who's barely familiar with history would know this. Yet we have here an Imam who's denying his own Imamah, which is extremely counterproductive. And how is this guy supposed to guide people? If he hides his Imamah from the people who are closest to him and from the biggest enemies of the government. The author says that taqiyya here cannot be explained, especially since they narrate from Imam al-Sadiq in their books that the wasiyah, meaning the texts mentioning the names of the Imam, had descended from the sky, from the heavens, upon Muhammad in the form of a book or a letter. And on it were seals and messages to every single Imam. And the message which was related to al-Baqir was that Allah told him, فَسِّرْ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ, interpret and explain the book of Allah, وَصَدَّقْ أَبَاكَ, and believe in your father and confirm what he has told the people, وَوَرِّثْ إِبْنَكَ, and give inheritance to your son, وَاصْطَنَعَ الْأُمَّةِ وَقُمْ بِحَقِّ اللَّهِ, and do the rights of Allah, fulfill the rights of Allah, وَقُلِ الْحَقَّ فِي الْخَوْفِ وَالْأَمْنِ, and say the truth in times of fear and in times of security. وَلَا تَخْشَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, and do not fear anyone except Allah. And the narration says, فَفَعَلْ. So Muhammad bin Ali, he did this. And in another narration it says, حَدِّث النَّاسِ, narrate to the people, transfer the knowledge to the people. وَلَا تَخَافَنَّ إِلَّا اللَّهَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ, and do not fear anyone except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَإِنَّهُ لَا سَبِيلَ أَحْدٍ عَلَيْكَ, because no one can harm you with Allah's protection. فَفَعَلْ. So Muhammad al-Baqir, he did this. And this is Al-Kafi volume 1, غيبة النعماني, and Bihar Anwar volume 36 and 48, Amali al-Tusi as well, Muntakhab al-Athar, Amali al-Saduq, al-Imam al-Tabsir, Kamal al-Din, and al-Manaqib al-Abi Talib. So, how do you reconcile this with taqiyya exactly? Because Allah is telling him, don't be scared of anyone, Allah will protect you, tell the people everything, whether you're in times of fear or you're in times of security. And add on top of that, that they narrate that the Imams know the time of their death, and they do not die, in fact, except by their own permission. And they narrate from Sadiq that he said, قال أبي لي ذات يوم, my father told me one day, إنما بقي من أجل 5 سنين, only 5 years remain from my life. So Sadiq says, فحسبت فما زاد ولا نقص. So I calculated it, and it did not exceed it by 1 day, and it was exactly as he said. He lived only for 5 years and then he died. And this is in إعلام الورى, في إعلام الهدى, and in بحار الأنوار, volume 46, and المناقب. So how can all of these narrations, and there's a lot of these types of narrations where the Imam, they know the time of their death and when they're going to die, and if they wish to not die, they will not die, and that Hussein died by his permission, and so on and so forth. So how do we exactly reconcile this with taqiyya, and they're always afraid of death, that they cannot utter anything, they keep denying their own Imamah, as they said. We go back now to the companions of this Imam, and we give a few samples. For example, they narrate from Abu Jarud that he told Abu Ja'far al-Baqir, he told him, may I be ransom for you? If the knowledgeable Imam from among you, Ahlul Bayt, passes away, then how shall the people know who comes after him, who succeeds him in the Imamah? So he told them through his actions and through his silence at times, I guess. وَإِقْرَارَ مُحَمَّدْ لَهُ بِالْفَضْلِ, and that the family of Muhammad will all admit to his virtue, and that he shall not be asked about anything from between the two covers of the Quran except that he shall answer it. And this is in Al-Khisal, in Ghaybat al-Nu'mani, Basair al-Darajat, and Bihar al-Anwar, volume 25. And the author says, I do not know why would anyone need to make a test or a quiz so that he can find out who the Imam is. What about all those narrations from the Prophet that we've listened to in the first couple of videos, for example? What about all the stuff in Isra wal-Maraj? What about the star falling and the names of the Imams being declared by the Prophet and the Sahaba such as Abu Huraira and Jabir and Abdullah bin Mas'ud and Salman al-Farisi? All of them asked about the Imams and the names of the Imams and the Prophets. He told them the names of the Imams according to Shia narrations. So why don't they just narrate this hadith instead of confusing people and telling them, oh, because he's going to be a good person and that he's going to be knowledgeable? Does that mean there's only one knowledgeable person in Ahlul Bayt at every point and everyone else is an ignorant? Like, what if someone goes and asks 2 people from Ahlul Bayt and they both answer? How will he even know which one is correct and which one isn't, assuming they both don't give out the same exact answer? So this is a really counterproductive method of deciding who the Imam is. And this is another Shi'i companion called Abu Khalifa. And he says, me and Abu Ubaid al-Hidda, we entered upon Abu Ja'far al-Baqir. And we asked him, كيف لنا بصاحب هذا الأمر حتى نعرف? How shall we know who the next Imam is? So he recited the verse of Surah Al-Hajj, verse 41, which says that those who, if we give them authority in the earth, they shall establish prayer and offer zakat, and they shall enjoin what is good and forbid from what is evil. And he says, إذا رأيت هذا الرجل منا فاتبعه فإنه صاحبك. If you see a man from among us following this example, then follow him, he will be the Imam. And this is in Tafsir Furat al-Kufi and in Bihar al-Anwar, volume 25. And obviously, as you've noticed, it makes no sense. Because a lot of people from Ahlul Bayt were pious. A lot of people would give salat and zakat. And in fact, none of the Imams were given authority in the earth. And here's the funny bit, is that none of these people were giving authority. Neither Ja'far nor al-Baqir, none of them. They were hiding. And as far as making salat and giving zakat and enjoining what is good and forbidding what is evil, this is really basic stuff. A lot of people were doing this at the time. A lot of the people at the time of Baqir al-Sadiq were really pious, including the companions of the Imams. And as for the previous narration which we've read, which says that the Imam is known only through his guidance and his silence at times, meaning his silence from answering and telling people who the Imam is or something like that. And what they mean by silence, the Majlisi explains silence by لعله أراد به السكوت في حال التقية. He says maybe he means the silence in the time of taqiyya. So the Imam doesn't answer people's questions and he remains silent in the time of taqiyya. But doesn't that really cancel out the other ways? Because the Imam said that whenever he is asked about anything between the two covers of the book, he answers. Like, let's say I go to him and there's some Sunni present, and there's a lot of Sunni because he's living in the middle of Medina, and he remains silent out of taqiyya. That means that I will consider him to not be the Imam, because the guy said that he has to answer me. Yet here, if he doesn't answer me, it means he's not the Imam. So basically he's saying whether he answers you or he doesn't answer you, he's the Imam. That's what I'm concluding from this. And it makes no sense. And also they say that from the signs of the Imam is that he is ashja'an nas. You know, as you've read previously. So here we really have to ask, if the Imam is just sitting at home doing taqiyya all the time, then how is he ashja'an nas? How is he the most courageous? This cancels out the Imam of Ja'far as-Sadiq. In fact, this makes the Imam to be Zayd ibn Ali ibn Hussein instead of Ja'far ibn Muhammad bin Ali ibn Hussein. Because Zayd, he drew the sword and he went head on, and he was a scholar and he was knowledgeable. And this was attested to even by Ja'far himself. And he went and he fought and he died in battle. Okay? This is the most courageous of the people, not the person who stayed at home doing nothing, such as Ja'far as-Sadiq, and just watched his uncle die. So this cancels out the Imam of as-Sadiq and establishes the Imam of Zayd ibn Ali. And we'll stop here for now, inshallah, and we'll continue next time from page 92.